Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Live at the Apollo. How are we doing? Are we all right? Because they say, right, that even though we're in a recession, they're saying that the sale of alcohol has gone up over the last couple of years, as have the sale of pies. That is the British way to deal with a crisis, isn't it? Oh, well, if we're going to be poor, we may as well be fat and pissed. But you could argue there's a lot of people in Britain at the moment who have, in fact, got too much money. I would personally argue anybody who's ever bought the autobiography of the talking meerkat, Alexander Orloff, you have too much money. Anybody who's ever bought glow-in-the-dark loo roll, you have too much money. Anybody who's ever bought a cosy sofa blanket with sleeves called a slanket. Oh yes, I've got some guilty people in my audience tonight. I would also say that anybody who regularly buys innocent smoothies, how expensive are they? £2.49 for a bottle the size of a specimen sample, and they have the cheek to call them innocent. Go to a supermarket, buy a banana. It will cost you 20 pence. Take a big bite, go, You will just have saved yourself £2.29. So, in the audience tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ben Brown from BBC News. Ben, of course, he's been to Chechnya, he's been to Iraq, he's been to Kosovo, he's been to Afghanistan. I'm guessing he's not going to sign up for a second series of Celebrity Coach Trip. We have been in Afghanistan coming up for 10 years. And the reason we went into Afghanistan to begin with was we went in with the help of Pakistan to try and find Al-Qaeda. Now it appears that Al-Qaeda have in fact left Afghanistan and gone to Pakistan, but we can't actually go and find them in Pakistan because Pakistan is our friend and they're still helping us look for them in Afghanistan. The government we're currently supporting in Afghanistan, Transparency International, they reckon that they are the second most corrupt government in the world, second only to Somalia, which of course doesn't have a government at all. Somalia is where the pirates are. These pirates who say, well, we weren't always pirates, we were in fact fishermen. But because we don't have a government, a lot of countries took the piss, they came and fished in our waters, so we realised we had to arm ourselves. And then, once we'd armed ourselves, we realised we didn't have to do any fishing anymore. Although you're thinking they could go back to fishing, couldn't they? Because let's face it, I don't think too many people are going to be doing too much fishing off the coast of Somalia for some time to come. Although that is the sort of extreme fishing I would love to see Robson Green doing. We would all pay good money, wouldn't we, to see Robson Green in a small fishing boat off the coast of Mogadishu singing at the top of his voice Unchained Melody. But you wonder if some of the things that we've put in place to combat terrorism, whether these measures are in fact proportional to the threat that we actually face. FBI were forced to admit that the Times Square bomber in New York, they said he was an amateur. The reason was he had in fact used non-explosive fertiliser. Yeah, he hadn't created a bomb, he'd basically created a garden in the back of his SUV. If he'd been a suicide bomber, he'd have pulled the pin on his jacket and a little bit of compost would have trickled down his leg. And even in this country, we've had a few problems with the police, haven't we? They were criticised for the Raoul Moat killing because they'd used 2 tasers on him, 2 tasers that weren't authorised for use. Turns out in America, 43 out of 50 states, tasers are legal for the police. But get this, they're also legal for the general public. Oh, that is incredible, isn't it? I'm grateful they're not legal in this country. Because let's face it, if you had one, you'd be tempted, wouldn't you? Or some yob riding his bike on the pavement bumps into somebody, taser. Some bloke jumps the queue in Tesco, taser. Next door neighbour, cat shit in your garden, taser. God Squad knocking on your door, 9 o'clock Sunday morning. Can you see the light? No, but you're about to. But things can change very quickly if things are going well, and I hope they are. Things can change very quickly. I think a lot of people in Britain thought the volcanic ash crisis was bullshit. Turns out it's a very real phenomenon. Happened over Indonesia, big ash cloud, British Airways flight went through it. And basically, there is a transcript of what the pilot came on the tannoy and said to the passengers, because all 4 engines had stopped. This is the transcript. Hello, this is your captain speaking. I'm afraid all 4 engines have stopped. We're doing our damnedest to restart them. I hope you're not in too much distress. Imagine you'd been on that flight. Imagine what would have been going through your head. My goodness me. I wasn't in too much distress until you come on a tannoy. I knew it was quiet, but I didn't know why. If you were going to come on the tannoy, the best thing you could have done was just to continuously go, And we have, ladies and gentlemen, Alan Duncan MP in tonight. Well, I have to say, I think it's very brave of an MP to turn up. I'm quite surprised, obviously, that an MP should turn up to a gig with free tickets, because it's not like they can even claim it on expenses, is it? It will be a first for the Hammersmith Apollo, though. Not the fact that they have an MP in here, but it'll be the first time it's been designated as a second home. Tina Fey, when she was ridiculing Sarah Palin on Saturday Night Live, they said, how do you come up with your material? And she said, well, basically, I just repeat what Sarah Palin said, and people laugh. And you're thinking that's the ultimate, isn't it? Getting politicians to write your material for you. Got to be worth a go. We have a work and pensions minister called Chris Grayling. He recently said, when asked about the benefits cap the coalition are thinking of introducing, he said, it won't lead to any homelessness, but it may lead to individual cases of housing mobility. David Cameron, when he was asked about drugs and the Bullingdon Club and rioting, he said, it didn't matter what I got up to at university. I didn't know I was going into politics. And you're thinking he must have had a reasonable idea, because at university he studied politics. And Nick Clegg said, I need to say this, you shouldn't trust any government, actually including this one. Now, after the tuition fees, I think he's on fairly safe ground there. People saying that the tuition fees will lead to a 2-tier university system. That is, of course, to say we don't already have a 2-tier university system. You can usually tell from the name, can't you? If it's a major city followed by the word university, it tends to be top tier, doesn't it? Whereas if it's the name of an area, or got the name of a person, or the word metropolitan in it, all I'm saying is you hear somebody is off to the west of Cumbria John Brooks Metropolitan University, you think there's a fair chance they're doing media studies. In America, they have the rise of the Christian fundamentalist right in the form of the Tea Party, or as they otherwise like to be known as, teabaggers. Teabagging means something very different over here. I can't wait for Sarah Palin to arrive in Britain and go, hello, I'm a teabagger. Some of you clapping, some of you may have to have that one explained to you at the end of the show. But for those of you who don't know much about the Tea Party, there is a woman called Christine O'Donnell. Now Google her, she is hilarious. She is often on Fox TV, comes out with some great statements, things like masturbation is sinful and the equivalent of adultery. And the thing is, she's actually quite fit. So I wonder how many people in America are watching her on the telly, cracking one off, and trying to justify it as an act of political rebellion.